GARRY, the new Conor McGregor. 6th November 2021, on Saturday night at the UFC 268 event, two fighters faced each other in New York City Madison Square Garden. It was the promotion debut of 23 years old boy The Future with Jordan Williams' 9-6 MMA record. The boy dropped his right hand, hit his opponent with the left hook, and knocked him in 60 seconds. As he knocked out Jordan Williams, commentators shouted, "Ladies and gentlemen, have you just seen The Future?" That boy came over and said, "Welcome to the new age, boys." Who is this boy? Let us have a close look at the life and career of GARRY and his arrival in UFC as the new version of Conor McGregor. Without wasting further, let's get straight into it. He is GARRY, who arrived at UFC 268 fight week with the Cage Warrior welterweight title. He knocked out his opponent with a great timed counter right hand, which reminded us of Conor McGregor's knockouts. In his post-fight interview, he repeated the words of McGregor that we are not here to take part, we are here to take over. GARRY is an Irish fighter who has passion for fighting, which came from his parents. He started as an MMA welterweight and made a 3-0 professional record. That was his immature career, and 2 count of his 3 wins had been finished until then. He explained that the reason I do fights is that I love it. I love the competition, I love testing myself and my skills, I love competing, and I love going in there with somebody and putting it to the rest. I work harder than anyone. I put in all my efforts to prove wrong or right, to show the people that put faith in me. I may not be the biggest, and not be the strongest, but I am one of the most efficient. Garry's mother was not happy with his decision to quit college and pursue MMA. She wrote a letter to him and called his plan to pursue MMA stupid. She said that being next to Conor McGregor is not a plan. At the same time, GARRY was growing up with the dream of being a boxing champion. In 2013, when Conor McGregor knocked out his opponent in 67 seconds and became a UFC superstar, GARRY followed the course of McGregor, and first he came through immature ranks and then Cage Warrior promotion. On his UFC 268 debut, Conor McGregor shared one of his videos. He was talking about how his mother opposed his decision and being a new Conor McGregor. And she said that being a new Conor McGregor is nothing. McGregor also recollected that his parents were also not happy with his decision to join MMA as a fighter, and they told him that he would not succeed as an MMA fighter, but Conor McGregor proved them wrong. GARRY started his immature debut under the welterweight Cage Warrior banner. His 6th professional fight was with Rostiv Akhmat. GARRY finished the fight in 8 minutes with Rostiv Akhmat, who went 0-2 in UFC, and 15 minutes with Jack Matthews. After that fight, GARRY faced a formidable opponent, Grant, 17-6, 2 times lightweight title challenger. The beginning of the fight was brilliant. GARRY landed some jabs earlier in the first round, and later, he defended his back while attempting to shake Grant off. In this fight, GARRY won by a unanimous decision and won the title of Cage Warrior welterweight champion. After his pro MMA career, he was getting too much attention. Young Dubliner said whenever he received an offer to compete in the Octagon, he would accept it at any point and would not miss the opportunity. He said he did not care about his records and he was sure not to be beaten by any fighter. He explained it did not matter how fast and slow his career was going. His goals are not specific to one division. Now he is on the top of the welterweight category, but he's determined to challenge a middleweight. His determination led his way to his UFC debut. On UFC 268 debut, Irishman was in front of Jordan Williams. GARRY was out, landed 24-22 in total strikes. Williams took GARRY against the fence and landed a more brutal shot on GARRY. The fight was finished in the last second of the first round. However, Williams was dominant but could equalize his attempts. Williams threw a left hook, and GARRY crashed his right hand on the jaw of American Williams. That was a brilliant knockout by GARRY in his UFC debut, and he raised his hands. UFC 268 has created hype in November, and the young Irish star will be compared to UFC's biggest stars, fellow Irishman Conor McGregor. In the post-fight interview, GARRY, in the style of McGregor, announced in front of the camera, "The future is here. There was an Irishman who took over the UFC. It's my time now." That hype was real. In his post-fight speech, he had a great respect for McGregor, and McGregor loved him too. GARRY also mentioned the famous words of Conor that we are not here to take part, we are here to take over. and this is the takeover part 2. He said, "We just shocked the world. The Irish are back, baby. I have a lot to learn. I'm 23 years old. We're taking over the divisions." McGregor also loved his countryman and was watching Gary in the Octagon. He attributed him on Twitter, "You little daisy in. The step back. Backpaw all are ha ha ha. Just absolutely incredible." Ian responded to him and said, "My guy, you are my inspiration. Now there are 2 of us. Let's get on the card together, brother, and let the Irish take over wherever it may be." In his Octagon interview, Gary also mentioned McGregor. Both Irishmen can be compared because they have scored almost the same knockout. That knockout against William was the same as the knockout of Conor against Ivan Bokinger. Gary is happy in comparison with McGregor. He's very impressed with the biggest star who had changed the game by his sudden mod of tricks and increased fan base of MMA. Both fighters belong to Ireland. 2 different people are on the same path. After UFC's debut, Conor McGregor followed Gary on social media. Gary said about this, "I was buzzing the time when he followed me on social media after my pro debut. I was sitting there at the kitchen table. I had a broken hand and I asked my sister to cut my pancakes for me when a notification popped up on my phone. And she was like, 'Oh,' and I said, 'Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal now.'" At just 23, Gary got tremendous success and a future ahead of him. McGregor was 25 when he joined the show, as Gary joined UFC and said he is training with the world's best team. "We expect further improvements in his game, so UFC must build his prelims before thrusting him into the main card slot. He has the stamina to take the mantle of Conor McGregor that is left behind him. That's why the UFC must build him sensibly." Gary has become a hype among the Irish fans after McGregor, and UFC are looking to break back into the Irish market. Gary, the Irishman, is hoping for the return of McGregor. He said that what he did in his UFC debut and his interviews was McGregor's great motivation. Gary's all hoping for the return of McGregor. After recovery from his injury, he would be part of the takeover too. According to him, if they both put on the same card, Ireland would explode. It was Gary's dream to be like Conor McGregor, and his dream came true. Gary said he would fight 3 times next year with a 4-month gap between every bout. Fans are curious and can't wait to return to UFC. Reminded the Notorious. I hope you guys liked this video. For more videos, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like this video and don't forget to save us by the bell.